Jesus in Luke is not up high on the mountain, but he comes down from the mountain where he is above everyone and delivers his words, his beatitudes on a level plain where he is one and in the midst of everyone else, looking at them eye to eye. He says, "Blessed are you who are poor. Blessed are you who are hungry. Blessed are you who weep. Blessed are you when people hate you." But unlike Matthew also, Luke follows the four Beatitudes with the four woes. Woe to you who are rich. Woe to you who are full. Woe to you who are laughing. Woe to you when all speak well of you. So there's the challenge, the irony, namely, we're blessed when we experience everything we try hard to avoid, and we are most fearful of facing poverty, hunger, weeping, and the hatred of others. But, says Jesus, woe to us when we have or everything that we desire in life and search for. How sad it is, says Jesus, if we achieve everything we want. How sad it is if we have enough resources to enjoy a life free of the fear of poverty. How sad it is when we know nothing but a full meal and never experience hunger or emptiness. How sad it is when all we know is laughter and fun and never know sorrow or hardship. How sad it is when all we know is privilege and people praise us because of our looks or our power or our station. How sad it is when we can always be on the inside and never experience what it is like to lack privilege and be a focus of scorn or condescension or exclusion because we don't have the right name or the right ethnicity. This is tough stuff. No wonder I've never wanted to preach on this Lucan version of the Beatitudes. Matthew's so much better, and he's up there on the mountain, you know, like me. I'm up on the mountain. Father Nigel said, "You still can't see me." I wish I had a comeback, but I don't. Physician, heal thyself. The English word woe, W-O-E, is a quaint exclamation of pity or compassion. They still use it in England, but they don't in the United States anymore because we don't speak English.
Oh.
Right? Just saying, yeah. The Greek Aramaic word translated as woe is uwe, uwe. Very close to the sound of the Yiddish ay, or the English aw, aw. So let's play with that for a second. Our modern equivalent might be something like this. You're wealthy, you have everything you need. Oh, I'm so sorry. You're satisfied, you have laughter and privilege. We expect the response to be, lucky you. But ironically, we get the opposite. Oh, too bad. About 30 years ago, the famous late 20th century Catholic spiritual writer Henri Nouwen preached at posh St. Bartholomew's Episcopal Church on Park Avenue in New York City, where at that time the rector made parish calls in a chauffeured limo. Just saying, vestry. Speaking to this affluent, self-assured congregation, Nouwen said that the way of Jesus is the way of downward mobility, not upward mobility. He was referring to the passage from Philippians in which Paul writes, "He did not cling to equality with God, but humbled himself and became like everyone else on a level playing field. He became fully human, no more and no less, on equal footing with everyone else in his experience." Now, and went on to say that downward mobility is the downward spiritual path to know and accept our struggling humanity, our frailty, our fears and anxieties and failings, our weakness and our helplessness. And in that downward journey from lofty heights with Christ, to come down off the holy mountain of our privilege and pretension that we are any better than anyone else, not subject to the other things that humanity must face, as Father Jess pointed out in his sermon a couple Sundays ago, not higher in status or more special than anyone else. But this downward mobility off the mountain to the plain with everyone else is also the journey of discovering that it is there when we are one with others and not apart from them, on that level playing field of our own humanity, that God's grace is found. It is there where we feel our poverty, our emptiness, our hunger. It is there where we are empty of answers or even hope, there where the tears come and where we are misunderstood or abandoned or despised, that we find a new source of the waters of life, a spring of love and compassion and kindness. Paul said it this way, "When I am weak, then I am strong." It's funny, isn't it, that when we know people who have a great humor, are self-effacing about their humanity, who have a tender heart, who are compassionate and easy to be with, we know that somewhere in their life they have faced the cross of suffering. They have not been able to live in an inflated state on that holy mountain. When I was a first-year student at Virginia Theological Seminary, each morning I would catch out of the corner of my eye an elderly man, quiet and unassuming, who would sit over to the side in the chapel for morning prayer. One day I asked one of the senior seminarians who he was and found out that he was regarded as the holy man on campus, the kindest man on the holy hill at Virginia Seminary, and that in his house on the campus he had an oratory, a place of prayer where he would meet students and priests seeking spiritual direction and counsel. Those who knew him spoke of his kindness and wisdom. His name was Jess, but it was not Jess Stribling, although he's the wise and good man of our congregation. His name was Jess Trotter, and for many years before, he had been the dean of the seminary. And I, sometime during my seminary career, was told a story, and I think I've shared it before, so if you've heard it, I want to share it again because it is one of the core stories of my own life. And in this story, Jess was still dean of Virginia Seminary, and he and his wife, Marnie, had one son on whom they doted. He was handsome and an outstanding student, brilliant, athletic, and he was a first-year student at Harvard University. He was home one week for spring break, and one day during that break, While Jess and Marnie were in the kitchen having lunch, they heard a shot go off on the second floor. Running upstairs, Jess found his beloved son dead on his bedroom floor, having shot himself. Needless to say, the grief was unutterable, and Jess disappeared for a few months. But a few months later, he went back to work, and his first act was to stand before the assembled seminary in the chapel and saying, "I've been to the bottom, and it is firm. I've been to the bottom, and it is firm." Jesus steps off the mountain and stands with the masses of humanity. Blessed are you who know your poverty, your emptiness, your grief, your loneliness, not because they are good things or things any of us wish to experience. These are crosses of humanity which are visited upon us in life we know not how or why. They take us off the mountain. You know that mountain. It can't happen to me. It can't happen to us. They take us off that mountain. But the blessedness, the blessing is that our crucified Lord enters through these crosses we bear with his grace and makes of them foundations for his kingdom of love to take root in our lives, his kingdom of compassion and his kingdom of kindness. The sorrows may never leave us. The wounds never left the crucified Lord, but neither does the resurrected life of oneness in love. It is that resurrected life that allows us to stand with one another, to love one another, not as someone greater or lesser, but simply one who shares the common humanity and takes the common journey. Amen.